In this edition of Wolf Tracks, we get ready for the new year by looking back at the old. See how the SK Theater put on a virtual play. We also highlight an SK club that kept debating through lockdown. And SK High just turned 100. Hear about its past from SK grads and staff. That and some of the best PSAs from the last year are waiting for you on Wolf Tracks.
Hi y'all, I'm Greg Pickard. Welcome to Wolf Tracks. I'm the SK video production instructor here at the high school. As summer comes to an end, we're starting to look back on some of our best work from last year. It takes a lot to make a good video. It takes a lot to make a play. But how about a virtual play?
SKHS drama department spent the past year on hiatus, waiting for a chance to return to the stage. But now, finally after 4 missed performances, SK Drama is back with this year's spring play. But this year's production isn't your typical spring play. A major difference in this year's production is that it was produced entirely by students. The play is a devised piece, which means that the ensemble has worked together to compose the script, choreography, and audio. Together they collaborated their unique and shared experiences, their related struggles and how they've been dealing with them, to depict the collective feelings of the pandemic and how Corona has affected us as a whole.
COVID has affected my life in a lot of ways, as it has all of us. I've always been super involved in the theater and a bunch of other things, so being stuck at home has been kind of difficult. So with this production, I feel like the weight of the past year has kind of been put on making this into the best production possible.
Unlike a normal year, they still had to push through many challenges posed by COVID.
It definitely has been a challenging year, and it's unlike anything I would have ever imagined. It's my first year teaching, and so to have this be my first year is pretty wild.
With this show, honestly, things like masks and stuff haven't been too difficult to deal with. The hardest part has been the timeline of this show. Usually we have 3 months to put together a play. We only had 1 month for this show, and we had to write it from scratch as opposed to working off of a script. So just fitting everything in and working with the time constraints has been the hardest part.
We couldn't get a lot of the design aspects done as fast as we normally would, so we're doing a lot of the work during rehearsals instead of actually rehearsing what we should be doing. But we pushed through it by just, everyone kind of got cross-trained on everything. So we'd have some of the actors help fly things and rig stuff. Some of them even helped with the lights, and others helped with costumes and props.
As our activities begin to come back in person, our return to normal is beginning to feel more real. The fact that we even have a spring play is a testament to how far we've come in overcoming this pandemic. With an end in sight, this play is a great and unique way to reflect on the significance of this past year.
Not only is it totally relevant to what we're going through right now as a community, but also it's completely original, so it is truly a representation of the voices of our community.
You can watch all theaters closed until further notice on SKTV and hopefully on our YouTube channel soon. Speaking of YouTube, we used our YouTube channel a lot last year so family and friends could check out our SK athletes all over the world.
He's got somebody open deep. Wide open. Touchdown, South kicks out. So that's again. Now we have a hand up to tailback. Good block by the fullback, and he's in for the touchdown. He's open, and it's a touchdown. Touchdown, South kicks out. Nice spot, throws the ball to the spot. touchdown.
Now we're going to be streaming a lot more sports this year, both on SKTV and our YouTube channel. Please subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the action. It's always a good idea for students to join a club or a sport, especially with the new year starting. One of the most active last year was our speech and debate team.
This was speech and debate in January.
Finalist in third place from South PSA, Stephanie Smith.
And this is them now.
Hello.
Hello.
Like most of the world, speech and debate was severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. As COVID cases continued to rise from the start of last year, speech and debate was also forced to cancel their statewide competition, of which 4 students from South Kitsap were forced to sit out. However, despite that setback, schools across Washington were determined to foster a sense of normalcy and allow teams to come back and compete, even if it's behind a screen.
Each school is in charge of their own online tournament, which means they're in charge of how it goes. And much like you guys are at school, sometimes you have to go to Pear Deck, sometimes you have to go to Skyward, sometimes you have to go to Google Classroom. It's the same with our tournaments. Sometimes you have to go to a place called Cascade Commons. Sometimes you have to go to a place that's NASD. Sometimes you have to go to Tab Room. So yes, that part's confusing because sometimes it's live speech. That's how we are now. We get together and we do debates and speech. Other times you have to record your video and then you've got to go fill out a form and then you got to do your URL over here. And so yeah.
Many solutions have sprung up to supplement the vast needs of virtual speech and debate tournaments. These platforms seem to be able to host multiple rooms simultaneously while ensuring that everyone is in their correct rooms. An example of a virtual speech and debate platform includes NSDA Campus, a solution developed by the National Speech and Debate Association. However, some solutions are more homegrown. For example, Cascade Commons, a system developed by a team in Bellevue. These platforms allow for people to continue to compete despite the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the consensus on these platforms is that there is still much more work to be done.
I think the virtual tournament system has been pretty hit or miss. We've only done 3 tournaments so far, and the first one was extremely different from the second one, and I think it allows for students to kind of critique themselves more, but it also allows for more freedom, I guess. Because you don't have, it's not just one take and then you're done, but you can take several takes and you get to kind of experience that from the speech side at least.
Despite this, members still appreciate the opportunity to be able to continue competing, albeit reminiscing of an in-person culture, the time pre-COVID-19.
The thing that I miss the most is the culture of the tournaments because I made a lot of friends at Gig Harbor and other schools, and that I never got to see them besides going to the tournaments, and it was always fun to see long distance friendships, I guess, during the tournaments and eating food and just talking to other people that you don't talk to on a regular basis and get new ideas and new culture aspects.
Even despite the complications that come with virtual tournaments, the speech and debate team still actively encourages new members to come and check it out.
Probably the biggest reason is it is one of the best extracurricular activities for college applications. It's going to get you a lot of points. It's going to look good there. We have awesome teams that are going to be very encouraging and welcoming. And I think it'll just help you to feel more confident about yourself. So I think there's something for everybody on the speech and debate team. And it's a really great group and it's fun. And we can compete, woo, even though it's virtual.
Hopefully this year they'll be able to meet in person. Now,
Hey, Pickard, what do you want this bookshelf?
oh no, not again. I gotta go save the Muppet. While we wait, here are some of our best PSAs from last year.
Face masks have become a regular, everyday item used by almost everyone we interact with. Recent studies estimate that we use an astounding 129 billion face masks globally every month. That is 3 million a minute. If not disposed of correctly for recycling, like other plastic wastes, disposable masks can end up in the environment, freshwater systems, and oceans. But by simply cutting the elastic strings off our mask, we prevent the risk of even more environmental pollution and harming countless wildlife. It's the least we can do for our environment.
We consume news everywhere. Whether it's from TV and political pundits.
Mike, they are telling you lies. Roscoe has never had fur, alright? If you look on the internet, alright?
Social media like Instagram and Twitter. But how do we know if the news that we consume is true? It's important to do your research. Use sources like Snopes and PolitiFact that are dedicated to finding the truth. Verify with experts. Or even talk to primary sources.
Hey Roscoe, I just wanted to ask, you do have fur, right?
Because truth is power.
Achoo!
That's it. I'm calling a meeting. Okay, who sneezed?
I don't want to go back into the lockdown. I am not missing basketball this season. It was White. She had her mask down.
I just finished eating lunch and I already got the vaccine.
So you claim.
You guys are overreacting.
That's just what someone who sneezed would say. Sus.
Hey, anybody have a spare mask?
Why?
Mine's, a bit gooey.
I'm glad we got the imposter.
He wasn't the imposter.
Oh, and how do you know?
The sun is shining and summer is near. I bet you can't wait to lay in the sun or enjoy your favorite activities outside. But too much sun exposure can cause sunburns, premature aging, eye damage, and even skin cancer. To lower your risk of sun radiation, it is important to apply sunscreen. The FDA recommends you use a broad-spectrum sunscreen of SPF 15 or higher. Additionally, remember to reapply every 2 hours. Keep your skin healthy this summer season, and enjoy your days outside in the sun.
Welcome back.
Ow!
And what did we learn?
Not to lift with my back.
Good. Well, now that you're here, you can help me with the show.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the things we looked back at last year was SKHS 100.
As some of you may know, South Kitsap High School was built in 1921, making this year South's 100th year. Looking back, some staff members have been affiliated with South for over 60 years.
I'm a 2002 graduate. I went to schools like Mullenix Ridge and John Sedgwick and South.
My history goes back, I'm guessing, to the 60s for me when my in-laws went through here.
Oddly enough, starts back in the 1960s. And no, I'm not that old, but that's when my mother and my mother-in-law graduated from South Kitsap High School.
South Kitsap is where I started my teaching career. This is my 4th year here, so all my seniors who are leaving, you started out with me. And I absolutely love South.
Especially in 2020, we learned that a lot can happen in a year. And with the overwhelming stress and chaos we have experienced, accomplishments can often be overlooked. but South definitely has some moments to be proud of that we should highlight.
Obviously been through a lot in the last couple of years, but we had some great fun Friday night memories. I think the pep assemblies have been awesome. I love the tradition and the spirit and look forward to building on that in the future.
I've seen a lot of community service. I've seen a lot of passion from the students as they look out to where they live and reach out to the people around them.
When I go back to when I was in high school and what our options were as classes, it's nothing compared to what it is today. And so I think that the opportunities that students have in this building are even just as great as they could be at a community college.
With the multitudes of achievements our school as a whole and individuals have achieved over 100 years, celebrating SK can be done in many different ways.
I think when you look at 100 years, it's not just what's going on here at the time, it's also the community that goes into it as well, and honoring the traditions and the history of all the people that helped to create 100 years.
I'm just acknowledging all of the amazing people that have come through this building during that time and what those people have contributed to society, to our local communities, to the greater communities, just all these amazing South Kitsap graduates and where they've landed.
Commemorating South's centennial year has brought many of us to reflect on how we contributed to our community. While a centennial has been accomplished, there is always room for improvement and ways South can be a better community moving forward.
Promoting kindness, promoting inclusiveness, promoting our diversity, and really reaching out to one another, both amongst our students and our staff members, and doing it from each one to the other.
By keeping students centered as our focus and growing them will be our main goal. I also look at the student voice as well, so looking at what our students are interested in and engaged in and making sure we follow those dreams and passions.
As we strive to continue improving South and ourselves, it's important to recognize all the opportunities and events that can be fulfilled in your own community. And you might even end up making some of your favorite memories.
My favorite memory from South Kitsap High School was in 2018 when the wrestling team won the state championship.
I think the favorite memory that I have is not just a single memory, but it's the collection of the students that have gone through and the relationships and the friendships that I've built while I've been here.
DECA trips. So we have a very involved group of seniors, happens to be my grade, continuing on to senior year where they continue to win medals and move on to internationals and things like that.
Oh, I got to think the dedicating the field to Coach Ed Fisher and storming the field and breaking that streak, getting rid of that thing.
Classroom baseball. When that happened after school and we had to get correct instruments for playing classroom baseball, I always really enjoyed that.
As a student, was definitely going to the football games on Friday nights. That's where everybody was. As a staff member, seeing students grow into young adults.
This June, when my son gets to graduate from South Kitsap High School and kind of carry on that legacy, and then 2 years following that when our daughter gets to graduate from South. That's really important, and I honestly hope that someday they bring their families back to South Kitsap High School and my grandchildren a long, long time from now graduate from South Kitsap High School.
Whether you were screaming your heart out at a pep assembly or admiring a poster in the hallway, South Kitsap would not be complete without each and every one of you. Through several ups and downs, sleepless nights, Friday night lights, productions, spirit weeks, and so much more, what you make of your experiences at South can be truly life-changing. I definitely know they were for me.
And now that we're done looking back, it's time to look forward.
Like how much what? I need to get lunch soon.
Mark, you're the camera guy. Don't talk. And stop moving the camera.
Oh, sorry.
As I was saying, the class of 2022 is doing just that as they're seniors this year.
This past year, colleges and universities around the country have experienced closures and limited campus activities due to the spread of COVID-19. For the class of 2022, there have been limited opportunities to tour colleges that they may be interested in applying to this fall. For many people, it is important to feel the atmosphere of a university or school before committing to it long term. Additionally, much of the class of 2022 feel unprepared for application season since there have been no campus tours.
Yeah, I don't think that the class of 2022 will have any disadvantage with not being able to tour any of the campuses. I realize it is difficult, but many colleges do let you come onto campus. They're also utilizing the virtual tours, which might actually make it more accessible to some students, especially if you're thinking of an out-of-state school and going to visit those schools would have been impossible anyway. But this way you can do a virtual tour and have more information than you would have in previous years.
Additionally, students who have invested more time into virtual college tours feel that they have a better idea as to what schools they want to go to and what the college has to offer.
So here at South Kitsap, we're trying to help students with the college selection process by hosting college admissions reps through Zooms.
South Kitsap plans to host more college fairs and financial aid information nights as the application season comes closer and closer.
So before applying to college, what I would recommend you do is make a list of like your non-negotiables. The second thing I would have you do is then create your financial aid profile. The last thing that you'll do is apply for scholarships. South Kitsap High School Career Center, we have a list of scholarships every year that is available to our students only, but you can also set up an account on the washboard.org. In the meantime, start to try to visit those schools either virtually or in person.
The Career Center at South Kitsap High School, as well as College Board and other scholarship programs, is here to help the class of 2022 feel prepared going into application season.
Good luck, South Kitsap High School class of 2022. I know you'll do great things.
Okay, well, that's it for this show. We hope to see you next time with more work from our great students.
Yep, and I'll be hosting.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
No, you won't.
Yes, I will.
No, you won't.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
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 Dang it, that always looks like Bugs Bunny.
Now that you're done with your dinner, sitting back in your favorite reclining chair, time for the greatest show on earth. It's Wolf Tracks. 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 It's
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear SK. Happy birthday to you.